Hey, how are you doing? It's Alan here from Looking for Warriors, and I want to talk really quickly about the difference between education and indoctrination. Now, it's difficult to talk about education today because when we talk about education, we think about the education system that's there right now. But I want to talk about real education, where you can call it learning, you can call it education, whatever you want to call it. But I don't want you to think back to your time in school necessarily and call that education. So the difference between education and indoctrination, what is it? In my mind, it's consent. It's consent and choice. And it's also repetition. Now, some repetition is good for kids to learn their tables, which I think is a useful thing. The only way to do it is repetition, and it's when they're very, very small, they're very open to repeating and repeating and repeating, and that's good. They want to intake information at that stage. They're small kids, 4 to 7 or 8. They want to intake information. It's a great time to get them to learn their tables off by heart, so they know them, so they can do maths in the head. Now, I know we all have computers and calculators and everything else, but there is some usefulness in, if you do a calculation on a calculator and you put a 0 in the wrong place, or you just press the wrong button, straight away, if you can do the sum in your head, you can look at that number, the result you get, and you know it's wrong. So I did something wrong there, so you do it again. Whereas someone who can't do the sum in the head just takes whatever the calculator says, and that's dangerous. That's dangerous because it's a case of you have got to be the person in charge. The calculator shouldn't be in charge, and that comes down to AI and everything else, and we'll be given lots of answers from people but we've got to be able to see through the incorrect answers, so that's quite important. So education and indoctrination, the difference is mostly consent. So if you choose what to learn, if you're looking at a number of different things and you find something exciting, you find something that calls you, that you want to do. Like, I'm doing these videos, no one asked me to do these videos. No one said to me, this is what I want you to do, and no one has a gun to my head. I could stop doing them tomorrow if I want. But you can't stop going to school tomorrow. You can't choose what you want to learn in your schooling. But what I'm saying is that real education is consent. So if you are interested in Facebook, you say, oh, I'd love to learn about Facebook ads. And you take the other Skillshare course and you learn it. That's real education. If you're interested in writing and you just start writing and you write 1,000 words every day, that's real education, rather than asking someone to teach you how to write. If you want to do videos like I'm doing, and you just start doing videos, and you do it every day, and you do things wrong. I for sure are probably doing things wrong. Don't know what they are yet. So put in the comments and let me know so I can improve. And that's real education. You're just doing it every day, and you become what you do every day. That's what you become, what you do every day. Whether you're paid for it or not, you become that. And that's real education. So what I'm saying is the difference between indoctrination and education is consent. That the person themselves chooses what they want to learn. And the best way to do this, the absolute best way to do this, is through Kanban and Agile. If you don't know what they are, it's really, really simple. It's just a board that says options, sometimes called backlog. I don't like the word backlog. Maybe it's okay for companies, but I think in learning, options is great, because having lots of options is a great thing. Having lots of a bad backlog is not so great. It's not as positive a word, just. So options, I say first column options, second column's to do, third column in progress, fourth column done, and then you could have a column called a pen, or whatever you want to call it, where you put things that you just can't do right now for whatever reason. You're trying to get some more information, you're trying to learn about it, you're trying to, whatever it is. So the best way to do education with consent is through Agile. So what you can do then is exactly like the Montessori method, which is absolutely ingenious. Just like the Montessori method, where they give the kids options. Just 15 toys on that. They're all learning toys, but there's 15 toys on that shelf. What calls you? And why can't we do that for older kids? In a kanban board where they have options. They have 20, 30 options. What are you interested in? Are you interested in space? Are you interested in relationships? Are you interested in maths? Are you interested in YouTube? Are you interested in going to the moon? So let's start there. Let's start there when you feel excitement for this thing. Let's start right there and let's start moving forward from there. Let's start moving forward from there and let's see what a kid is excited about. Now, it's impossible to do. It's impossible to do today in schooling, in the current schooling system. Because how do you take 30 kids and find out what they're all individually excited for? Because they're all individuals. Now, it is true to some extent that kids at that age will follow other kids. So if there's one kid interested in going to the moon, you may find that 10 kids might find that interesting too. And they'll do it as a group. But it's very, very difficult to do. It's very difficult to think about any individuality or any personal excitement in the current school system. It's really, really difficult to do. Now, it can be done with your own kids at the weekend, in the evenings, or if you're homeschooling. I don't believe unschooling is a great plan. And the reason is because kids need some direction. Now, they need to consent to make their own choice about what they want to do, but they need some direction, or else they're just going to play computer games all day. They need some sort of direction. So here's 15 things you can do. What would you like to do? So they do need direction. But once they have the direction, the only important thing then is consent. Did they choose it? And I want you to think back to your time when you were being schooled. How much of the curriculum did you choose? When you came in the first day, did they show you the items that you had options for and ask you what you would like to choose to learn? Now, the closer we get to that is in Ireland, we have secondary school and they'll give you some overall choices. Do you want to do business? Do you want to do science? Do you want to do technical drawing? Do you want to do woodwork? Do you want to do German? Do you want to do French? Do you want to do Spanish? But it's too broad. It's too broad. It's too broad. I would go down as far as, you want to learn how to speak. Over the next 2 weeks, you want to learn to speak 3 phrases in French. See if you like that, and if you don't, we'll move on to something else. But if you find that you're building excitement for this right now, then keep going. Maybe we'll learn 6 phrases in French, then we'll learn 20 phrases in French, then we'll learn some grammar. And the grammar is the last thing you need to learn. You need to learn how to speak to people first. So, education, real learning is about consent. I read quite a bit. I do Skillshare courses all the time. I also do learning on YouTube and all over the web. I never, ever once was told what to learn. Never once. And I probably wouldn't do it if I was being told. Because the excitement that I feel is an internal excitement. So it comes from somewhere else. It doesn't come from another human being. It comes from the ether, from God, whatever you want to call it, from myself, or the connection with myself. That's where the excitement for learning comes from. It can't come from another person. Now, it can to some extent, to the point where like a kid might feel excitement for some things that his dad does because there's a connection there and he understands that he wants to be like his dad. That's absolutely fine. But having a curriculum that a faceless bureaucrat somewhere, or a committee of faceless bureaucrats in a government somewhere wrote out for every child in the country, there has to become a point where you realize that that's not the way we should be teaching kids. How have we not realized that yet? And we put really, really good people into a system where they can't be successful. They can't be successful as far as giving kids the skills they need in today's economy. in today's economy is so different from the economy when I was growing up. But what we're learning isn't that different. All the subjects are exactly the same. So for me, that's the difference between indoctrination and education. Education is by choice. You choose what you want to learn. But indoctrination, you're told what to learn. And you're told to repeat it. You're told to take in the information remember the information that you're given, which is okay. We can do the memory palace and we can ace that. But to remember the information that you're given and put it back on exactly the same onto an exam paper. And there's no room for you having your own opinion or for you taking in that information, putting around your own cranium and coming out with your own ideas. There's no room for that. So I'm asking, when are we going to realize that this indoctrination of a curriculum from a number of faceless bureaucrats isn't the right way to do it? I don't know. Put in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know. Are we ever going to realize that? It's been Al here from Looking for Warriors.